One of the things I view as a core element of any good MMO are the places you call home. A refuge from harsh environments where you keep your collections of things that represent your most valued achievements. Hey guys, Morphologist here, and welcome back. So about a week ago, Star Citizen posted a new video on their YouTube channel talking about a number of new things coming to Star Citizen in the future. One of those things was homesteads and what they're working on. They gave us our first look at some of their initial concept work. They were just sketches, but these structures were really cool, and it inspired me to take my own crack at it live on stream in a build that I did last Wednesday. So in this video, I'm going to take you guys through what we know about homesteads and what role they might play in the future of Star Citizen. Because believe it or not, if you play Star Citizen, they're going to be extremely important for your inventory. Then I'm also going to take you through my own thought process with what I designed and how I think they might work, or maybe how they should work. And at the end, I'm going to show you guys some really cool renderings that took me a few days to actually put together because it takes time to render these things for your viewing pleasure, and it'll be a nice backdrop to talk about this really cool subject. But also later, I want to share with you guys why for the first time ever on my YouTube channel, I've agreed to allow a company, NordVPN, to sponsor this video, because this actually applies directly to my own life. So I want to put my own Nord link in the description below where you guys can support me and my channel, which is nordvpn.com/morphologist, as well as a link to my Twitch channel where you can see the entire VOD that I'm showing in the background here. To understand why HABs are going to be so important, you first have to understand how the inventory is going to work in the future of Star Citizen, and this is actually just around the corner with the iCache system and server meshing. So unlike other games, you're not going to have a global inventory. What you're going to have is a physical inventory that's tied to locations. If you have a weapon or a suit or a ship, it's going to be stored at a specific place. Now, if you've got a basic HAB, it's going to be stored in that HAB, and that HAB is going to have a limited amount of inventory. And if you ever want to retrieve that, you're going to have to go back to that HAB to pick it up. Of course, though, we also know that ships too will have their own inventory. Say, for example, the Carrack will have quite a bit of inventory if you're the owner to store your own things. However, as you may well have guessed, storing stuff on a ship comes with added risk. If you're living out on the edge in maybe more pirate-type space, having your ship blown up would mean that you would likely lose whatever was inside the ship that insurance doesn't cover. So having a HAB or a series of HABs becomes even more important because that's where you're going to put your valuable stuff, your backup stuff, and maybe even your achievements, those collectibles you get along the way from doing really big missions or maybe winning big wars against other orgs in Star Citizen. A trophy room, if you will. And if you think this concept is crazy, it's not the first game to have ever done it, or at least something like it. Star Wars Galaxies had it where they had inventories locked to different buildings that you could own, different homes and player cities, and if you wanted to access that stuff, you'd have to go back to pick it up. Same thing with EVE Online. Inventories are locked to stations, and if you wanted one of your ships or one of those items, you'd have to physically transport it to a new location if you were moving house. EVE Online, though, might be a little bit closer in the sense that if you died in a ship that was transporting your items, then they would be lost, just like what I suspect Star Citizen is aiming to do, as it's a bit more realistic. If you're curious though how Star Citizen is planning on having outposts made though, they announced a ship a few years back called the Pioneer from Consolidated Outlands. This ship is meant to go to Planet and Moon surfaces, land, and deploy manufactured prefabricated units that can be linked together in a variety of different configurations to create things like player housing and even trading outposts so that players can sell their own goods and wares. A good way to make money while out there on the frontier. So then one of the curious things about the concept sketches they've given us is that they are a bit more bespoke and do not look like prefabricated units. So that leads me to believe that they're thinking that we might have more than just those units made by the Pioneer. To be clear here, they did say that these were for NPCs, but whenever we see stuff for NPCs, we can usually guess that they may be thinking about them for us as well. So that got me thinking, how might these be created? Could they be a bit more approachable for the average Star Citizen player? Well, before I go too much more into it, I need to first tell you about how you can help me make more videos like this in the future. For those of you who are new subscribers and may not already know, about 3 years ago I moved my entire life to Taiwan for a big job opportunity in Taipei to build a really big building. As a young, aspiring architectural designer, this was a really big opportunity for me, but it was also a pretty big financial hit. And so in order to make ends meet while I was in Taiwan, I needed to keep up with some stuff in the United States, still doing little bits of work here and there, as well as doing my YouTube channel. Unfortunately, this came with a lot of big problems. A lot of websites in the US IP block Taiwan, and so in order for me to access websites like Home Depot or even government websites, I needed to use a VPN. For a while, I used some free ones, which worked okay, but sometimes wouldn't work at all, and that would be a big hamper on my work schedule. And sadly, you just can't pay rent with excuses. So I did some research and came up with a couple of options, one of them being NordVPN. I tried it and I loved it. They don't collect my data, and it actually works for the websites I need to access. So when they came to me with this opportunity, it seemed like a pretty natural fit. So if you're like me, or maybe you just want to watch season 2 of The Mandalorian when it comes available on Disney+, because unfortunately it's never going to be available here in Taiwan, or maybe if you just want to support the channel, then head on over to my link nordvpn.com/morphologist and use the code morphologist to get 68% off on a 2-year plan plus an extra month free. So in case you guys are curious, I used 2 programs to make this model. The modeling part was done in a program called Rhino 6, and then the rendering was done in a separate program called Lumion 10. The goal was to create a hab that could be deployed on a planet or moon's surface, but something that was a bit smaller scale than the ones that we saw deployed by the Pioneer. The challenges were that the project should still feel domestic and comfortable to live in, but be rugged to resist multiple types of environments. But additionally, I wanted it to be deployed by something a bit smaller than a Pioneer, something that could fit through nearly any type of jump point. And that way, everybody has access to it. They only have to pick it up in their ship's cargo and drop it off where they need to, say with a ship like the Starlifter. The process could go something like this. The player makes the base somewhere on a lunar planet using construction drones and then brings the actual container to the site. And then they can deploy whatever modules they purchase to go along with the base container, something that would fold out, or maybe even be a second module that you could later attach to it. The result would be a high-end, highly resistant mobile unit that could be deployed and redeployed whenever the player needed, say if their particular base location was discovered by an enemy faction. Its construction and refinement would be more akin to something like a ship instead of one of the basic habs that you find at, say, Port Olisar or Grim Hex. And because it's designed more like a ship, it would be highly resistant to stuff like micrometeorites and low temperatures and even very high temperatures, like those found on desert worlds, my personal favorite. Some moons or planets, though, may suffer from extreme weather changes, say from a nearby supermassive black hole, and so having some adaptability to its resistance would also be quite nice. So I designed some roll-down doors, and for the garage to have a fold-up door to seal up the unit in case of an extreme storm event. And if it floods, well, it can detach from its base and then float up to the surface of the water, where you can await to be rescued and for the unit to be lifted to safety. But I can't stress enough to the CIG devs that whatever they choose to go with should be somewhere that they feel that they want to live. Ultimately, these are places that people will inhabit, even if it's in the virtual environment, and people will be more drawn to places they could see themselves living in the real world. That being said, it should still convey some sort of power and safety and technology that we currently don't have. Planets and moons in Star Citizen are already in a really great place with their effects on the player. Here you can see the Calliope is at negative 273 degrees Celsius, which means that I have a lifespan on the surface of around 5 minutes. That means I need to get myself over to a hab. I think it would be amazing to be able to experience these moon and planet surfaces more often than with our own little place to hide away. I remember fondly in Star Wars Galaxies that I had hidden my own little house somewhere on Tatooine in the hills where nobody could find it. But it can also serve a practical purpose as a place to call your home whilst you're out on the frontier, a place to set down and venture from every day to discover new things in the new system that you've just moved to, or to, go and mine some of the highly valuable things on the surface of that moon or planet. And after that long day, you can return back to your hab where you can look up into the sky and find the next star that you want to visit. But what do you guys think? Would you like to have your own smaller version of the HABs deployed by the Pioneer that you could fit into your own cargo and put wherever you want? If it sounds like a good idea, let me know down in the comment section below. I really want to know your thoughts, and if you like the video and you want to see more, you guys know what to do. I've been Morphologist. I hope to see you guys next time.